The planet of Kalara was a world of marvels. Towering cities stretched into the sky like silver trees, and vast oceans glimmered under the twin suns. On this world, the alien queen Lysara ruled with unmatched authority. She was tall, elegant, and her presence alone could silence a crowded hall. Many warriors, rulers, and diplomats from across the galaxy had come to impress her, but none had succeeded. They brought wealth, weapons, and exotic gifts, but Lysara valued more than power or luxury. She sought intelligence, courage, and the spark that made someone extraordinary. It was during the annual intergalactic assembly that humans first arrived on Kalara. They were a rare species in the galaxy, known for their unpredictability. Other alien races often underestimated them. They were smaller, physically weaker in appearance, and lacked the polished combat skills many other species prized. But humans were clever, curious, and resourceful. Most visitors dismissed them as insignificant, but not Lysara. The human ambassador named Michael stood quietly in the Great Hall. He was not tall, nor muscular like the alien warriors around him. His hair was brown, his eyes steady and thoughtful. He wore simple clothing, unadorned and practical. When he spoke, it was soft and calm. He did not try to impress anyone. He did not raise his voice. Yet, there was a strange confidence in him. It was subtle, almost invisible, but Lysara noticed it immediately. The assembly began with ceremony and display. Aliens from distant worlds presented their wealth and strength. A giant four-armed warrior lifted a massive crystal with ease, showing off his brute power. A race of floating beings demonstrated telekinetic abilities, moving objects without touching them. Each display was more impressive than the last, and the crowd cheered. But when Michael stepped forward, he did nothing. He did not show wealth or strength. He merely observed the challenges with quiet attention. The final task was a diplomatic puzzle. The assembly required each representative to solve a complex sequence of agreements between multiple alien races. It was a problem that often took teams days to solve, but Michael approached it alone. He studied the rules carefully, asked subtle questions, and applied logic that others had missed. Within a short time, he presented a solution that was elegant, fair, and efficient. The hall went silent. No one had expected a human to solve such a difficult challenge. Lysara's eyes widened. There was something remarkable about this quiet, unassuming being. He had no grand weapons, no flashy technology, yet he had achieved what others could not. When the assembly ended, whispers spread through the crowd. A human? Can this one truly be worthy of the queen? He is so small. How could he possibly defend her? Many doubted him. The court had grown used to warriors, conquerors, and rulers vying for her attention, not diplomats who solved puzzles. Lysara, however, had already made her decision. She called Michael to her private chamber, her steps echoing on the smooth marble floors. She watched him approach. There was no fear in his eyes, only calm curiosity. "You have impressed me," she said simply. Her voice carried authority, yet curiosity. "Most of the visitors I meet try to dazzle me with power. You have done it with intelligence and patience. That is rare." Michael bowed slightly. "Your Majesty, I am honored. I only did what I thought was best for peace." "Peace is important," Lysara agreed. She studied him for a long moment. "You are different from any other being I have met. Quiet, observant, capable. I wish to know more about you." And then, unexpectedly, she proposed something that stunned the assembly and her court. "Michael, I wish to marry you." The room went silent. Alien diplomats and warriors froze. Many looked at each other in disbelief. Some laughed nervously. "The queen wishes to marry a human?" one whispered. "He is not strong nor noble like us." "How could this be?" Michael blinked in surprise. He had not expected this. He had come to Kalara as an ambassador, not as a suitor for a queen. But he saw no malice in Lysara's eyes. She was not joking. He nodded carefully. "Your Majesty, if it is your wish, I would be honored." The court erupted with shock. Murmurs and whispers spread like wildfire. Some warriors stepped forward, flexing their muscles, showing their weapons as if to assert their strength. "The queen cannot marry him. He is too small, too weak," one growled. Lysara's eyes flashed with determination. "Strength is not only measured by size or weapons," she said calmly. "It is measured by courage, intelligence, and the ability to act when needed. He has shown these qualities." Despite the murmurs, preparations for the marriage began immediately. Michael adapted quickly to life in the palace. The alien world was different from anything he had known. The ceilings were impossibly high, the doors taller than his head, and the gardens contained plants that glowed at night. He studied the alien language carefully, learned customs, and observed the palace routines. The alien court, however, did not accept him easily. Many warriors saw him as a weakling. They mocked his size and laughed at his quiet nature. They trained every day, showing off their power, hoping to intimidate him. Michael did not respond to their provocations. He watched carefully, learning their fighting styles and weaknesses. Lysara noticed this patience. She saw how he did not attack without reason, how he analyzed each situation before acting. There was a quiet strength in him that most did not understand. She began to realize that intelligence and calm could be more powerful than brute force. Weeks passed and whispers continued in the palace. Many doubted the queen's choice. He cannot protect her, some said. He cannot fight. He is only a human. But the queen ignored their words. She had seen something special in him. One day, a large alien warrior approached Michael in the training hall. He was twice Michael's size, with muscles that bulged and claws sharper than steel. "Human," he said with a sneer. "You are not worthy of our queen. I challenge you." Michael stood calmly, studying the warrior's stance. He did not flinch, nor did he raise his voice. He waited, watching, learning. The court gathered, curious to see how the human would respond. He moved with precision. Every step was deliberate. He did not rely on strength, but on timing, balance, and intelligence. The fight was swift. The larger warrior underestimated Michael, and in the end, he was disarmed and defeated. The court gasped. The human had won without brute force, using only his mind and agility. Lysara's eyes shone with admiration. She had chosen well. The court fell silent. Even the doubters could not deny what they had witnessed. Michael was no ordinary human. He was strong in ways they could not understand. That night, Lysara and Michael walked through the glowing gardens of the palace. The twin moons reflected on the water, and alien flowers shone with soft colors. "You surprised them all," Lysara said quietly. "You have shown strength where they expected none." Michael smiled softly. "I only did what I had to do. I learn, I observe, and I act. That is all." "You are more than I expected," she said, taking his hand. "I married you because I saw something different in you. Something they cannot see yet." He looked into her eyes and nodded. "Then I will continue to prove that they underestimate humans at their own risk." The future was uncertain. The alien court would continue to challenge him. Warriors would test him, and threats would come from beyond Kalara. But Michael had already shown that courage, intelligence, and patience could win battles even against beings far larger and stronger than him. And Lysara knew that her quiet human husband was only beginning to reveal his true strength. The galaxy, she realized, was about to witness something extraordinary. The days after the marriage were filled with wonder and tension. Michael moved through the palace of Kalara with quiet determination. The halls were enormous, the ceilings stretching into the clouds, and the walls shimmered with strange living light. Every surface pulsed with subtle energy, making the palace feel alive. To Michael, it was fascinating. He observed everything: the guards' routines, the flow of palace staff, and even the habits of the queen herself. Lysara watched him with growing admiration. He did not rush or demand attention. He asked questions with thoughtfulness and listened carefully to every answer. Even though he was human and far smaller than any of the alien warriors in the court, there was a calm confidence about him that made her respect him more each day. The alien court, however, was not so easily impressed. Many of the warriors continued to whisper behind Michael's back. They mocked his size and his quiet nature. "How can he protect the queen?" one growled. "He cannot even lift a standard energy blade without effort." Another sneered. "A human? This is an insult to our queen." Michael ignored them. He knew that words meant little. Instead, he observed. He watched how the warriors moved, how they trained, and how they fought each other. He noticed their strengths but also their weaknesses. He saw how their pride often made them predictable, and how their reliance on raw power sometimes left openings. The first test came unexpectedly. One of the palace's training instructors, a tall alien with 4 arms and jagged claws, challenged Michael to spar. The court gathered, eager to see if the human would be humiliated. Michael stepped onto the training floor calmly, his eyes steady. The four-armed warrior lunged immediately, swinging his claws with immense speed and power. Michael did not dodge wildly or counter with strength. He moved carefully, stepping to the side, letting the warrior's own momentum guide him past. With a small but precise push, he sent the larger opponent stumbling. The crowd gasped. "You see," Michael said quietly, "size is not the only measure of strength." The court was stunned. Even the Queen's closest advisors whispered among themselves. No one had ever seen a human move like this. He was not the fastest or the strongest in a traditional sense, but his timing, strategy, and calmness made him a formidable opponent. Lysara smiled from her throne. "He learns quickly," she said softly to an advisor, "and he does not let arrogance guide him. That is what makes him remarkable." Over the next few weeks, Michael trained in the palace with the warriors. He studied their weapons, practiced their techniques, and learned their combat styles. He did not seek to dominate them. Instead, he observed and adapted. Slowly, the warriors began to see that he was not weak. He could hold his own against some of the best fighters using precision and strategy rather than sheer power. Yet not all challenges were in the training hall. The palace was filled with political tension. Some alien lords tried to manipulate the Queen, questioning Michael's ability to protect her and maintain her rule. They whispered that marrying a human was a mistake, a sign of weakness. Lysara confronted them with quiet authority. "You underestimate him because he does not fight like you," she said. "He sees the world differently, and that perspective is invaluable. You will learn to respect him, or face the consequences." Meanwhile, Michael learned about the customs of Kalara. He attended council meetings, observing negotiations and studying alien cultures. He asked questions not to show off, but to understand. Slowly, he began to grasp how the alien mind worked. He learned that what seemed like brute arrogance often masked deep intelligence and strategy. One evening, Lysara invited Michael to the palace gardens. The twin moons reflected on the glowing water, and alien flowers emitted soft, shimmering light. "You have adapted well," she said. "You do not seek attention or power, yet you move through this palace with quiet confidence. It is unusual for humans to be so patient." Michael looked at her. "I observe first, act second. Acting without understanding often leads to mistakes. I wish to do well for you and for this court." Lysara's eyes shone with admiration. "You do more than well. You are teaching this court humility without even trying." But the court would not remain quiet forever. The first real test of Michael's strength outside the training hall came when a group of alien warriors attempted to intimidate him. They were known for their size and brutality, and they surrounded him in a wide courtyard. Their leader, a massive being with scaly skin and glowing eyes, stepped forward. "Human," he growled, "you have survived our training challenges, but can you survive us? You cannot protect the Queen. Step aside or be crushed." Michael stood calmly. He did not draw a weapon immediately. He studied their movements, noting how each warrior relied on strength, how they telegraphed their attacks, and how coordination among them was sometimes sloppy. Then, when the moment was right, he moved. His steps were precise, almost effortless. Using the momentum of the first warrior, he dodged a strike and pushed the attacker off balance. Another warrior lunged, and Michael sidestepped, using a well-timed block and twist to redirect the force. Within moments, the group realized they were being outmaneuvered. The human, small and unassuming, had defeated them not with power but with intelligence and agility. The Queen watched from above, her eyes wide. She had seen courage before, but this was different. Michael did not seek glory. He did not fight with anger or pride. He fought with patience, strategy, and respect for the rules of combat. The court was silent. Even the most skeptical warriors could not deny what they had seen. Michael had won without showing arrogance or cruelty. He had proven that humans, though underestimated, could be exceptional. After the encounter, Lysara approached him. "You have done well," she said quietly. "The court will respect you now. They may still doubt, but they cannot ignore your skill." Michael nodded. "It is not about respect. It is about being prepared. The Queen deserves safety and loyalty, not a fight for pride." Days turned into weeks. Michael continued to learn, observe, and adapt. He attended formal dinners, council meetings, and ceremonial events. At every turn, he demonstrated patience and intelligence. Slowly, even the warriors who had mocked him began to treat him differently. Some still whispered, but others began to watch him with curiosity rather than scorn. Lysara saw all of this with growing admiration. Her choice, though questioned by many, proved wise. This human was quiet, humble, and small. Yet he possessed the courage and intelligence to face challenges far beyond what most expected. She began to understand that the galaxy often underestimated humans. Their strength was not always visible, but it was real and formidable. One evening, as they walked through the glowing palace gardens, Lysara spoke softly. "You have changed this court already. They will learn to respect humans because of you." Michael looked at her, a small smile on his face. "I do not seek respect. I only act as I must. If they learn from it, that is a consequence I welcome." Lysara nodded. "And that is why I admire you. You act with purpose, not for attention or praise. That is true strength." The palace had changed since Michael arrived. The court still whispered and challenges would continue, but the foundation had been laid. The queen and her human husband had begun a partnership built on trust, intelligence, and quiet courage. The galaxy was watching, and the human would soon face challenges that would test more than skill or strength. He would face warriors far larger and more ruthless than anything he had seen before. But for now, he continued to learn, adapt, and prepare, and Lysara knew that this quiet human, who had entered her life unexpectedly, was destined to show the galaxy a power that no one could ignore. The sun rose over Kalara's sky, casting soft golden light across the palace city. The twin moons had set hours earlier, leaving the planet bathed in warmth. Inside the throne hall, preparations were underway for a challenge unlike any the court had seen before. Rumors had spread across the palace. A warrior from a distant system had arrived, famous for his size, strength, and brutality. He demanded to face Michael, the quiet human who had already surprised the court with his intelligence and calm courage. The palace was tense. Aliens from across Kalara crowded into the throne hall. Their bodies towered, wings stretched, claws glimmered, and energy weapons hummed faintly at their sides. They whispered among themselves, skeptical of the human's ability to survive such a challenge. "He is too small," one muttered. "The queen will be embarrassed," another said. "A human cannot defeat him. It is impossible." Michael entered quietly, his expression calm. He was smaller than every warrior in the hall, but his presence carried quiet confidence. He carried no weapons, wore simple clothing, and moved with deliberate care. Lysara sat on her throne, her eyes fixed on him. She had seen potential before, but now the real test had arrived. The challenger stepped forward. He was massive, nearly twice Michael's size, with muscles that bulged under his armor. His skin shimmered with scales, and his eyes glowed red with intensity. The hall trembled as he flexed, sending a ripple of energy across the floor. "Human," he bellowed, "I have heard of your victories. But size and strength cannot be overcome by intelligence alone. Prepare to be crushed." Michael studied him carefully. He did not step forward aggressively, nor did he show fear. He noticed the warrior's stance, the rhythm of his breathing, and the subtle way he shifted weight from one leg to another. Every movement revealed weakness if one knew where to look. The court held its breath. The alien warriors leaned forward, eager to see how this would unfold. Even the queen's advisors murmured quietly among themselves. This was more than a challenge. It was a spectacle that could define the human's place in the palace forever. The challenger lunged. His enormous fist swung toward Michael with incredible speed and force. Many in the hall flinched. But Michael did not panic. He sidestepped at the perfect moment, letting the warrior's momentum carry him past. With a precise twist and a gentle push, he sent the larger alien stumbling. The crowd gasped. "You are fast," the challenger growled, regaining his balance. "But you cannot hide from me forever." Michael remained calm. He moved with careful steps, anticipating each strike. The larger warrior attacked again and again, relying on raw power and size, but Michael did not meet his attacks head-on. He used the opponent's strength against him, redirecting movements, dodging just enough, and countering with small but effective pushes. The hall watched in stunned silence. The human strategy was unlike anything they had ever seen. He was not the strongest or the fastest, yet he controlled the fight entirely. Every move was calculated, precise, and effective. "Do not underestimate him," Lysara whispered to an advisor. "He is not ordinary. He thinks in ways most beings cannot." The challenger roared, striking with claws and feet, attempting to overwhelm Michael. But each attack met a calm defense. Michael's movements were fluid, almost effortless. He analyzed every opening, every mistake, and used them to his advantage. Finally, with a swift maneuver, He unbalanced the warrior and pushed him to the ground. The hall erupted. Aliens cheered and gasped at the same time. Even the most skeptical warriors stared in disbelief. A human had defeated a being twice his size, not with brute strength, but with intelligence, patience, and precision. The warrior slowly rose, breathing heavily. He looked at Michael with a mix of anger and respect. "I underestimated you, human," he admitted. "You fight differently than any I have faced. You are formidable." Michael bowed slightly. "Strength is not only measured by size or power. Strategy and understanding matter as well." Lysera's eyes shone with pride. She had always believed in the human's potential, but seeing him in action changed everything. The court had watched the impossible happen. The quiet human they had mocked now commanded respect through courage and skill. The victory did not end the court's lessons. Some warriors were still doubtful, some still whispered behind their hands, but the tone had changed. Michael had proven that he could face formidable opponents without fear, without arrogance, and without cruelty. He had set a new standard. After the challenge, the palace moved into a quieter rhythm. Michael spent time walking through the gardens, observing the alien flora and fauna and practicing mental exercises. Lysera joined him, walking among glowing plants that reflected soft light on the water. "You did well today," she said. "You have shown them all that strength is more than muscles and size." Michael shook his head slightly. "I only acted when I had to. I learned from observation first. That is all," she smiled. "That is why I married you. You see the world differently. That is a gift many overlook." The days following the battle brought new challenges. Michael continued to train with the alien warriors, learning new combat techniques and teaching subtle lessons without arrogance. He emphasized observation, timing, and control rather than strength alone. Slowly, the court began to see his victories as examples, not anomalies. One evening, Lysera gathered Michael in the council chambers. "There will be greater challenges," she said. "The galaxy will hear of your abilities now. Some will admire you, some will fear you, but every being who doubts humans will soon learn why they cannot be underestimated." Michael nodded. "I will continue to act with care. Strength without purpose can be wasted. The Queen's safety is my priority, and I will face what comes." Meanwhile, the court began to change. The alien warriors who had mocked him now watched with respect, some even seeking advice on combat techniques. They saw the value of strategy and intelligence combined with courage. Michael's quiet presence and careful actions had begun to influence the palace in ways that no display of brute force could. Yet, not all threats were within the palace walls. Intelligence reports indicated that other alien warriors from distant systems had heard of Michael's victory. Some saw it as a challenge, others as a humiliation to their own pride. Lysera knew that the humans' next tests would be more dangerous, requiring not just skill but courage, adaptability, and ingenuity. One night, as Michael and Lysera walked through the palace gardens, she spoke softly. "You have changed more than this court. You have changed my perspective on humans. I see now why the galaxy underestimates them. You are a reminder that quiet strength can surpass any display of power." Michael looked at her, his calm expression unwavering. "I only do what I must. The rest is consequence. If others learn from it, that is their choice." Lysera smiled. "Then continue. Show them that humans are not ordinary. Show them what it means to fight with mind and courage, not only with strength." The palace was quiet that night, but Michael's mind was focused. The challenges ahead would be greater, the warriors larger and more skilled. But he had already shown that careful observation, strategy, and patience could defeat beings far stronger than him. The Queen watched him walk through the glowing gardens, her hand brushing lightly across alien flowers. She realized that the quiet human she had married was no ordinary partner. He was a force the galaxy would not ignore, and together they would face any challenge that came their way. Michael's first display of power had set a precedent. The court had learned a lesson in humility and respect, and the galaxy would soon begin to notice that humans, small and quiet, could achieve feats no one expected. The sun set over Kalara, casting long shadows across the palace. The twin moons would rise again, and with them new challenges, but Michael was ready. He had learned, adapted, and proven that intelligence and courage could overcome even the greatest obstacles. And the alien queen knew that the quiet human she had married was only beginning to reveal the power within him. The palace of Kalara buzzed with anticipation. News of Michael's first victory against the massive warrior had spread throughout the court. Alien nobles and warriors whispered about the human who had bested beings twice his size. Some were impressed, while others were skeptical. None of them, however, were prepared for what was about to happen next. A pair of alien warriors, known across multiple systems for their size, strength, and ruthlessness, had arrived. Both were far larger than the warrior Michael had faced before. Together, they had crushed opponents who outnumbered them. Their arrival in the palace courtyard caused tension to spike immediately. Aliens lined the walls, their eyes wide with curiosity and fear. The human they had heard of was about to face a challenge unlike any before. The queen, Lysera, stood on her balcony, her eyes fixed on Michael. "This will test him more than any before," she murmured to herself. "He will need courage, intelligence, and strategy to overcome them." Michael stepped into the courtyard quietly. His posture was calm, his expression unreadable. He carried no weapon and made no threatening gestures. The two giant warriors towered over him, muscles rippling under their armor, claws gleaming in the sunlight. "You are the human who defeated the smaller warrior?" one of them bellowed. "We will see if your luck continues. You will not leave here unscathed." Michael did not respond. Instead, he observed. He studied their movements carefully. The way their weight shifted, the rhythm of their attacks, the subtle habits they displayed when they assumed victory was already theirs. He noticed that their strength, while immense, often made them overconfident. Their size made them slower and less agile. The first warrior lunged with a massive fist, aiming to crush Michael in one blow. The second attacked from the side, claws extended. The court gasped. To most, it seemed impossible for a human to survive, but Michael moved calmly. He stepped aside, letting the first warrior's momentum carry him past. Then he used a precise push to redirect the second attacker's balance. They stumbled slightly, and for a brief moment both were uncoordinated. Michael seized the opportunity. He did not strike with force. He used precision and timing. A well-placed push here, a subtle redirection there, and the two giants found themselves struggling to maintain their footing. The crowd could hardly believe what they were seeing. A single human, small and unassuming, was controlling the flow of combat against two enormous opponents. The first warrior roared in frustration. "You are clever, human, but we will not fail." He swung again, faster this time, attempting to overwhelm Michael. But Michael anticipated the attack. He sidestepped, guiding the warrior into a position where the second's momentum would work against him. The second warrior lunged, claws extended, aiming for Michael's side. Michael twisted and grabbed the edge of a nearby pillar, using it as leverage. He redirected the force of the attack so both warriors collided with each other. The sound of armor and metal clashing echoed across the courtyard. The crowd fell silent. No one had ever seen such a display. The human was not using strength but intelligence, balance, and strategy. He manipulated the battlefield itself, using the environment and the opponent's size against them. Lysera's eyes shone with admiration. "He is extraordinary," she whispered. "Not because he is strong, but because he understands strength in a way no one else does." Michael moved carefully, keeping both giants at a distance while continuing to analyze their movements. Every strike they made revealed a new opening. Every misstep they took gave him an advantage. He did not rush. He did not panic. His mind was as sharp as any weapon. Finally, with perfect timing, he executed a series of precise maneuvers. A subtle push caused the first warrior to stumble backward, tripping over the second. The second fell next, losing his balance completely. Both giants crashed to the ground with a thunderous impact. The crowd erupted into cheers. Aliens who had doubted him now stared in awe. Even the most seasoned warriors were impressed by what they had witnessed. A single human had defeated two enormous opponents simultaneously, relying not on brute strength but on intelligence, timing, and patience. The two fallen warriors rose slowly, breathing heavily. Their eyes, once filled with arrogance, now held respect. "You have exceeded our expectations," one said. "We underestimated you. Your skill is remarkable." Michael nodded quietly. Strength is not only measured by size or power. Understanding and strategy are equally important. Lysera stepped forward, her expression glowing with pride. She had known he was exceptional, but watching him face two giants at once had exceeded all her expectations. "You have proven yourself again," she said softly. "Not just to me, but to the entire court." The palace courtyard buzzed with excitement. Aliens whispered about the humans' abilities, some in fear, others in admiration. The court had learned a lesson in humility. Never underestimate a human. After the battle, Michael walked with Lysara through the palace gardens. The air was cool, and the glowing plants reflected soft light on their faces. "You surprised everyone today," Lysara said. "Even the warriors who mocked you now respect you." Michael smiled faintly. "I do not seek respect. I only act as I must. If they learn from it, that is a consequence I accept." "You are more than I expected," she replied. "You are not only strong and clever, but calm under pressure. That is rare in any species." For the rest of the day, Michael continued to train and observe. He practiced with smaller warriors, learning new techniques and refining his own skills. He also studied tactics and strategies, thinking ahead for any possible challenge. The palace was a place of constant observation, and he never stopped learning. The two defeated warriors, now allies rather than enemies, came to Michael later. "We have seen your skill," one said. "Teach us. Show us how you think. There is much we can learn from you." Michael nodded. "Strength without understanding is wasted. You can be powerful, but only if you combine skill with thought and patience." Slowly, the palace began to change. The humans' victories inspired respect, even admiration from those who had once doubted him. The warriors no longer mocked him openly. They watched, learned, and even sought guidance. Michael's quiet courage and intelligence were shaping the court in ways no one had imagined. That evening, Lysara and Michael stood on a balcony overlooking the palace city. The twin moons rose in the sky, casting a soft glow over the glowing streets below. "You are changing more than this court," Lysara said. "You are changing my view of the galaxy. Humans are often underestimated, but you show me that strength comes in many forms." Michael looked out at the city, calm and thoughtful. "I do not seek glory. I act as I must. But if others learn that humans are more capable than they expect, then perhaps the galaxy will be wiser." The palace was quiet that night, but Michael's mind was active. Challenges would come again. He would face opponents larger, faster, and more skilled. But he had proven that courage, intelligence, and careful strategy could overcome almost any obstacle. Lysara watched him and knew that this human, quiet and humble, was not just her husband. He was a force that could change perceptions, earn respect, and perhaps even reshape the galaxy's understanding of humans. And Michael, small but fearless, continued to prepare, knowing that every challenge was an opportunity to show that humans could achieve greatness against all odds. The twin moons shone brightly over Kailara, promising more trials, more victories, and a future where humans would never be underestimated again. The palace of Kailara was quieter than usual. The twin moons hung low over the city, casting soft silver light across the towering buildings and glowing gardens. Inside, the court buzzed with anticipation. Rumors had spread of yet another challenge, one that could shake the very foundations of the palace. Aliens from distant systems had heard of the human who had defeated warriors twice his size. Some came to challenge him, others to observe, but all were curious to witness what a human could truly do. Michael stood in the training hall, calm as always. He had anticipated this moment. Months of observation, practice, and strategy had prepared him. The victories against the single warrior and the two giants were only the beginning. Today the stakes were higher. The challengers would not be ordinary warriors. They would test his strength, skill, and ingenuity to the fullest. The doors of the hall opened and two massive figures entered. They were both taller, broader, and faster than any warriors Michael had faced before. Their armor gleamed with energy fields and their eyes burned with determination. The court gasped at their size. Even the most seasoned aliens whispered in awe. Lysara, standing above on her balcony, watched closely. Her eyes shone with pride and curiosity. She knew that the human she had married was extraordinary, but the galaxy had yet to fully witness his potential. "You are the human who defeated the giants of Kailara?" one of the challengers demanded. "We have come to see if your victories are mere luck." "Prepare yourself," Michael nodded quietly. "I do not seek glory. I only act as I must. Let us begin." The first warrior lunged with incredible speed, swinging an energy-enhanced arm designed to crush any opponent. The second attacked from the side, claws extended, aiming to overwhelm Michael with sheer force. The court held its breath. To most, this human's survival seemed impossible. Michael moved deliberately. He had studied every previous opponent, learned from each encounter, and adapted his strategy. He sidestepped, redirected attacks, and used the challenger's own power against them. Each move was precise, each step calculated. The giants were powerful, but they lacked his agility and foresight. The first strike landed near him, but Michael twisted, allowing the warrior's momentum to carry him past. With a careful push, he redirected the second warrior into a position where their attacks interfered with each other. The giants collided, staggering slightly. The court gasped. "You are clever, human," one warrior growled, regaining balance. "But cleverness cannot defeat strength forever." Michael smiled faintly. "Strength alone is not enough. Understanding and strategy are equally important." For several tense moments, the battle continued. Michael did not rely on speed or brute force. He relied on observation, patience, and timing. Every attack by the giants revealed a weakness. Every movement by Michael exploited it. He manipulated the environment, using pillars, stairs, and open spaces to control the battlefield. The massive warriors struggled to coordinate, their size and power now working against them. The court watched in awe. Aliens whispered among themselves, realizing that humans were far more capable than they had ever imagined. Even the skeptics could not deny what they were witnessing. Finally, Michael saw his opportunity. The two warriors had overcommitted to an attack, their momentum misaligned. With perfect timing, he sidestepped and guided both into a collision that sent them sprawling to the ground. The impact echoed through the hall, the crowd erupted. Cheering, gasps, and whispers filled the palace. A human had defeated two of the most feared warriors in the galaxy, not with raw power but with intellect, strategy, and courage. Lysara stepped forward, her voice carrying over the crowd. "Behold the strength of the human I have married." Her eyes shone with pride. "He is not strong only in body. He is strong in mind, in patience, and in courage. He has proven that humans, though small, can surpass even the greatest warriors of the galaxy." The defeated warriors rose slowly, their expressions a mix of frustration and respect. "We underestimated you," one said. "Your skill is extraordinary. We misjudged humans." Michael nodded respectfully. "Strength is not only in size or power. It is in understanding, preparation, and action when necessary." The court fell silent, absorbing the lesson. The whispers of doubt were gone. Respect had replaced skepticism. Humans once underestimated were now seen in a new light. Lysara approached Michael and took his hand. "You have not only proven yourself to the court, but to me as well," she said softly. "You have shown that courage, intelligence, and patience can overcome any challenge. You are more than I ever imagined." Michael looked at her calmly. "I act as I must, but I am honored by your words, and I will continue to act to protect you and the palace." The atmosphere in the palace shifted. The alien warriors who had once mocked him now sought his advice. They asked about tactics, timing, and strategy. Even those who had challenged him now acknowledged the human's unique abilities. Over the next days, Michael's influence in the palace grew. He trained with warriors, advised on strategy, and taught patience and observation. The court began to see humans in a new light, capable, adaptable, and resilient. One evening, Lysara invited Michael to the palace gardens. The twin moons reflected on the glowing water, casting soft light across the glowing plants. "You have changed more than the court," she said. "You have changed my perception of the galaxy. Humans are underestimated, but you have shown me what they can achieve." Michael looked at her, his expression calm. "I do not seek admiration. I act as I must. But if humans are seen differently because of my actions, then perhaps they will be treated with the respect they deserve." Lysara smiled. "You are not only my husband, but a symbol of what humans can achieve. The galaxy will remember today, and they will remember your strength." As the weeks passed, the palace continued to adapt. Aliens who had doubted Michael began to respect him openly. The court learned that raw strength was not the only measure of power. Observation, patience, and intelligence could turn the tide of any battle. The final lesson of the human's abilities came during a council meeting. Aliens from distant systems came to observe the Queen's court, curious about the human who had defeated giants. Many had expected to see him fail, to witness humiliation, but instead they witnessed mastery. Michael advised on strategies, taught tactics, and demonstrated calm intelligence in handling complex political challenges. The Queen stood proudly, watching him. "He is extraordinary," she whispered. "Not because he is a human, but because he is capable, wise, and courageous." The galaxy must learn not to underestimate humans. Michael, quiet and humble, continued to act as he always had. He did not seek praise or recognition. His focus was on understanding, preparation, and action. Yet by simply being himself, he had reshaped the court, inspired respect, and proven that humans, small and underestimated, could achieve greatness. The palace of Kalara now saw a new era. The court no longer judged by size or appearance. The galaxy had learned a lesson in humility and respect. Humans were not weak. They were not ordinary, and one quiet human had shown the way. Lysara took Michael's hand once more as they walked through the palace gardens under the light of the twin moons. "You have done more than anyone could imagine," she said. "You have shown the court, the warriors, and me the true strength of a human." Michael smiled faintly. "I only act as I must. Strength is in action, courage and understanding. That is what anyone can achieve." The moons shone brightly above, reflecting on the glowing flowers and the water below. Kalara had witnessed a quiet human rise above expectation. The court had learned respect. The queen had seen courage and wisdom beyond measure, and the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. Michael's legacy was established, not through brute force or arrogance, but through quiet courage, patience, and intelligence. He had proven that even the smallest being could achieve greatness against impossible odds, and the alien queen, Lysara, knew that she had married someone extraordinary, a human whose strength and wisdom would echo across the stars. The palace was at peace that night, but the galaxy would remember the quiet human who had defeated giants, taught the court humility, and revealed the hidden potential of humanity.